This is a problem that we've been having for a while with Nintendo, and I think what they just announced really just pushed it over the ledge for a lot of people on Nintendo Switch, and it's their pricing models right now. So if you don't know, Nintendo has select prices for specific games, and it goes anywhere between like $40 to $60 and now even $70 in price, which is crazy. You know, thinking about $70 for a Nintendo Switch game is kind of insane. And now there are some very few games, I would say, to me, were worth the $70. To me, Breath of the Wild was worth the $70 for the experience that I was gained with that game. It was crazy. I mean, I played that game well over 500 hours, and it's just like, that deserved my $70 for sure. There was so much content in that game. But I can't really find myself to think of any other game on the Nintendo Switch that was worth that much money. I mean, even as much as I loved Mario Odyssey, it wasn't enough content for $70. So that seems to be Nintendo's new AAA price for big games coming out in the future, which, okay, if they start making some huge AAA games on the scale of Breath of the Wild, then I won't even complain that much about the $70 price tag. My problem is charging $60 for a game that we played 10 years ago. That is a huge issue. So Nintendo just put up the information for Donkey Kong Country Returns on the website and actually put up the price point, and people are absolutely stunned to see that the game is at $60. Now, on one hand, I'm obviously not shocked because Nintendo has been doing this, but it just, this one was different, and a lot of the reason was because we've been seeing comparison videos from the original to this one. As much as I'm not a fan of the remastered look of Luigi's Mansion 2, this one has to be one of the worst ones we've ever gotten. I mean, the head-to-head comparisons have showed some drastic differences that literally make the game look kind of worse on Nintendo Switch than it did on any of its past versions, especially the Wii version. It actually had better lighting in some areas, better textures, more details in specific points, and it's just like, how is Nintendo making a lesser remaster of an old game $60? I also think it makes it even worse when it's games that specifically have two other versions out there. Like, you could try to find the Wii one, and if some reason you can't find the Wii one out there, which it might be a little hard by now, a 3DS copy's got to be readily available. I mean, like, just give me a second. I mean, you can literally get a Wii or a 3DS copy at like $20 right now. So, like, huh? I know a lot of people are going to argue, okay, don't get the Switch one then. Just go get the Wii or the 3DS one. And as somebody that did have the Wii game, I can get that for somebody like me who has all my past consoles. But you got to remember, there's a lot of people out there that do not still have a working Wii, or maybe don't even have a 3DS to play this game, and they just want to play this game on modern hardware. You know, the Switch is an amazing console, and I can see a lot of people just wanting to build the ultimate game library for that specific console. And people being forced to still have to buy this game because there's no other way to get it on Switch besides duking out the $60. And I'm sorry, it's not an excuse to sell a game for $60 because people still buy it. People kind of have no choice nowadays. If you're just a Switch owner, don't have any other old console, you're forced to buy these old games because you never got to experience them before, probably, and this is the only way you can. And look, this is why people do emulate games, and I know it's wrong to do so with a game that just came out, and you probably should not be doing that. You know, support Nintendo when they do finally release these big AAA first-party games that have never been seen before, brand new titles. But when they're trying to charge $60 for a game that came out back on the Wii, and it's literally looking the exact same, if not worse, there's an issue. In my opinion, the price point should go like this. There should never be a remaster that goes over $40. A remaster is taking the same exact game and barely enhancing the visuals to match some of the modern fidelity of the games that we've been seeing in recent years. They should match them at least then. If you're going to charge $60 for a remaster, the remaster should look something like Metroid Prime 1. Look at that remaster. I mean, it looks gorgeous. It's one of the best looking games on Switch, and it's $40. Meanwhile, we got not an enhanced version, not a remaster, not a remake, and not really any new content outside of a free funky mode, but we got Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze again, and it's literally the same exact game, now with an included easy mode for a newer audience, and it's still priced at $60. that is a problem. It's obviously the same situation for Luigi's Mansion 2, which is a small remaster, and a lot of people still consider it to be a remake because some of the assets were changed, but I'm sorry, even looking at the head-to-head comparisons, the game just looks and feels like a 3DS game still. I mean, it literally just, the textures look strange, they look rounded and blocky, and I don't know, it just reminds me of a 3DS game all the way. It looks nothing like Luigi's Mansion 3, and it's crazy to me that this game is priced at the same exact point as Luigi's Mansion 3, when that game to me is one of the best games on Nintendo Switch and one of the best looking games on Nintendo Switch. It's crazy to compare those two games technically as the same. That's what Nintendo's trying to say. I'm probably one of the biggest Skyward Sword fans and defenders of all time. I think this is one of my favorite Nintendo games ever, and I have played this game over 100 times, I feel like. Okay, probably over like 10, but still, I love this game. And even when it finally got announced to have a remaster coming to Nintendo Switch, even I had to look at this game and say, there's no way they consider this a remaster. I mean, it's just barely touched up. It looks pretty much like the same exact game, just maybe a little less blur than it had on the Wii. It still looks exactly the same. It could have used some touch-ups. It could have used probably even a remake to make it look even better, but still, Nintendo had this little remaster and they charged $60 for it because of the name of the game being Zelda. Mario 3D All-Stars was another game that was worth $60, of course, because it has the Mario name, but we're talking about 3 classic Mario games slapped into one package, and every single one of them pretty much untouched. Yes, I think Sunshine maybe got a slight touch up in Galaxy, just a clearer version, but overall they're ideally the same exact games. I mean, we couldn't even got a stretched out version of 64, or just a actual remaster of some of these games would have been nice. I don't know, but yes, this felt like a cash grab for sure. It was the same exact games that we've always seen and always had in the past, and it's just on the Switch now, and you know, it's a 3-pack, so $60, I guess. They could have at least added Mario Galaxy 2, and maybe I could have seen a $60 price point, but yeah, just for getting one of the 3D Marios and 3D Mario All-Stars was just funny to me. I mean, yeah, you could argue 3D Land as well, but I mean, I would have just taken Galaxy 2 and ran away with it. Like, it's strange. You got your 40, your 60, and your 70 $70 games, but then Nintendo makes some weird games that are just priced at the $50 price point for some reason, and an example of that is Pikmin 1 plus 2, which is literally just ports of Pikmin 1 and 2, and somehow it's still $50, which definitely screams $40 to me. Like, it screams $40. But apparently, I think it came out that Nintendo prices these games based on content and, you know, a game-by-game basis of how much you get for your buck. And sometimes this could be the case. I mean, Captain Toad did come out at $40, even though it added some extra levels as well and was additionally a port. It's still an overall smaller experience. And you get Mario vs. Donkey Kong at $50. It probably should have been $40, but at least they were willing to knock off 10. Yes, it was a Game Boy Advance game, but they did add some extra worlds and gameplay mechanics, so that was pretty cool. You had both of the WarioWare games with Move It and Get It Together priced at $50, because it's just a small collection of micro games. It probably could have been knocked down to $40 based on how fast you can beat these games and probably be sick of them. But then you also had Switch Sports, which definitely deserved a $40 price tag. So sometimes Nintendo gets it. You know, they have these smaller franchises like the WarioWare stuff, Switch Sports, or like an old Game Boy game come back, or even Captain Toad, smaller spin-offs, and they seem to be pricing them at pretty good price points. For them to say it's always based on content, it's just not true. And it's also just not true based on what the series is, because I feel like that's just an excuse. People might also say Metroid Prime Remaster was $40 because it's a Metroid game. No matter even if it was enhanced or not, it's a smaller, more niche series, so therefore it should be priced at $40. But then you got games like Pikmin 1 plus 2, which are the same exact Pikmin games, not even enhanced, but at $50. And you're trying to argue to me that Pikmin is more known than Metroid? And Pikmin only has like 4 mainline games and one kind of spin-off on the DS? Yeah, I don't buy that. I think it's just really up to Nintendo at the end of the day, and that there's no real like way to understand what they think is going to be priced at certain points. I think the only thing that we can take away is that if it's going to be a Mario or a Zelda or something within the Mario universe like Luigi's Mansion or Donkey Kong or Peach or whatever it's going to be, if it is a remaster or a remake, it is going to be at $60, even if it's a port. But if it's a new Mario or Zelda or Donkey Kong or Luigi's Mansion, I think from here on out, we could be seeing $70 price points for every single new game in those respective series. And it's kind of crazy to me to think of a $70 Mario game, but you know what? If this new Nintendo Switch console actually is that powerful and it makes the games look that crazy and it is that expansive and there's so much content in these upcoming games, then you know what? It is what it is. But I will always say remasters deserve to be priced at $40. There's no other way around that, especially ports that had nothing to the gameplay. $40 is a perfect price point. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of the prices of these Nintendo games. Have they gone completely out of their mind pricing Donkey Kong Country Returns HD at $60, or do you not care? You're just going to buy it regardless? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.